Welcome myself back to the session. You guys may have seen me before in the middle session earlier in the morning. Okay, I guess we have the first questions coming in, which is about Plan A and Plan B. Okay, so Ajahn Sila and Ajahn Thames already explained to you what's the difference between Plan A and Plan B. One thing that is required for Plan A is that you have to have 1 year of experience. Okay, and for Plan A, you have to do thesis. For Plan B, you have to do special project. So maybe I just leave it for Ajahn Sila to explain what's the difference between thesis and special projects.
Okay, so part of the experience of getting a master's degree is that we want you to have some research experience. So as part of the programs, no matter whether it's a MSF program or MFE program, you will have to expose yourself to some research experience, and that is a requirement for graduation, is that you have to produce some research work. Now, there are two types of research work, the thesis and the special project, okay? So to make a long story short, a thesis is a much bigger research project. So it requires more credit hours, and you have to do a lot more work if you do the thesis. But for the special project, I think if I want to speak roughly, it would be something like half the effort of the thesis. So it would be smaller projects, and the work hours that you put into the special project might be not as rigorous as the thesis. So I think if I want to suggest, make a suggestion for all of you, I think that the thesis path or Plan A, which requires you to do the thesis, that is definitely more difficult as a graduation requirement, definitely more difficult. I think that the special project is a better option if you have more than 1 year work experience. But of course, if you don't have enough work experience, then you will automatically be enrolled in the Plan A, right? So my suggestion for those of you who plan to get a master's degree, I think that it's better to get some work experience before you apply, because then you don't have to deal with the difficult thesis plan, right? That's my rough, my general suggestion to all of you, and also it will make my job easier, because advising the thesis is you know, is quite rigorous, and for both the advisor, professor, and also for the students as well. So that's the central message: get some work experience if you can before you apply. But for those of you who you know, do not care much about work experience, who really want to, or maybe you intend to do the thesis because you plan to be a full-time researcher after you graduate, or you plan to get a PhD after you get a master's degree, then in that case, of course, you are free to choose Plan A, the thesis path as well.
And I want to add a little bit. As Sila mentioned, that if you want to go on to PhD and to become a researcher, you can choose Plan A. That will help. But actually, Plan B also train you guys to do some research. It also rigorous research, right? Special project. You have to come up with your own research topic. You have to do review of literatures. You have to come up with the methodology, data gatherings. So all the analysis is similar to do research, but it's just a smaller project. So these skills can also be helpful for you to go on and doing PhD as well. Okay, so we move on to the second questions about exchange opportunity. If you guys gone through our website, you will see that there's a lot of exchange opportunities. Like we can send students abroad, and we have some exchange students come to visit us. Unfortunately, during the COVID, we cannot send anybody abroad, but we have some courses that you can take online. That is collaboration between foreign universities and us. So we have some students sitting here at Chula, and take courses abroad with some other universities and share experience, discuss with friends from other countries as well. So if you guys think about exchange opportunity as kind of exposure to international fields, to more friends, to broader universities, that still exists. But if you think about yourself physically go to study abroad, that may depends on the situation. If we have the situation of COVID improve, it's going to be back. But if not, we still cannot send people abroad.
อาจารย์ไว้may I share คะ
Yeah, and please remember that apart from the exchange opportunity, there's also opportunities for you to participate in international competition event as well. Before COVID time, we used to send a team of students to abroad, for example, to Toronto, Canada, to participate in international trading events. That is also interesting if you maybe want to get some international travel exposure, but maybe you're not ready to go on a full exchange program for a semester, then that is also an option for you as well.
Okay, so next question is about CFA.
Okay, so a question that I see is that the curriculum of the MSF program, how different is it from the CFA program? Well, so let me give my short answer first. I think that the CFA curriculum is a subset of what we teach at the MSF and MFE program. So I would say that for both our programs, the MSF program and the MFE program, we dig deep into the theory behind the practice as well. So if you finish the curriculum here, then I would say that you will be well prepared for the CFA program. But of course, you still have lots of study to do because the CFA program, they have their own curriculum and also their own exam style, right? So you still have, if your ultimate goal is to take the CFA exam, then there are still lots of work for you to put in for studying for the CFA exam. But I mean, of course, there's some huge overlap with the material that we teach in our program.
Excuse me?
So maybe we have another professor here of MSF, and she want to share you guys more with the exchange policies during this COVID and for the next coming year. So let me move to อาจารย์พรพิชยาครับ
Basically, what I learned about the exchange policy from July as of now, starting from January next year, July allows students to participate in the student exchange program. It means students can be at the partner university on site, but the student has to meet certain conditions before they can join the student exchange program. For example, the student must be fully vaccinated before joining the exchange programs, and the conditions that the student fully vaccinated, it should be the student should be at least fully vaccinated 14 days before the departure to the partner university. And the student has to get approval from the dean of the business school as well before they can join the student exchange program. Students also have to have a clear study plan, and they plan also to handle themselves from the COVID-19 situation as well.
Okay, so back to me. All right, so now I guess you have some information about exchange opportunities and international exposure. So we have another interesting questions about our curriculum again. Do we have any things about fintech blockchain? Okay, so let me say this: we don't have a course specifically for this one, but we have some courses that incorporate this kind of new materials into it. But one thing I want to train our students, let's say, when you guys go on and work in the finance and banking industry, it's changed rapidly, it's changed very quickly. So we, instead of focus on some particular instrument or in technology, we kind of provide you with a strong background in theory as well. So once, even though now it's fintech, it's blockchain, but once you graduate from us, something new is coming in. You don't have to know that in advance, but you can still use the theory that we provide to apply and understand it. Okay, so what we train is not just some specific issue, but it's a mindset. But to answer your short question, do we have anything about this? Currently, we don't have a course specific for it, but we do have some courses that cover this kind of material, and we have some research in finance series. We have some special lectures that can cover some topics that is kind of interested to our students. We have one lectures related to blockchain before last year, and if there are more people interested in this kind of things, we can invite our guests again to talk about this. But it's currently not a big topic to be a full course 3 credit. It's still not like that, but it's just one part, one topic in a small class. We also have some course called alternative investment or alternative, I can't remember the name of the course precisely, sorry. But that course is cover about like 10 or 15 weeks, and we expose you to several kinds of investment, commodities, blockchain, fintech can be included in that courses, a wide variety related to investment, but not that, it's not equity, it's not stock, it's not derivative that we already have in another course. It can be covered in those courses.
Okay, I see another question coming in about pre-term courses. Just to give you a background, before the first term starts, both the MSF program and the MFE program will offer some pre-term courses for students who think that they might need some prepping before the term starts. Now, these pre-term courses are not required, okay? So you can pick and choose only the subjects that you want to brush up before the term starts. So the pre-term courses cover subjects like background in accounting, background in financial statement analysis, background in economics, or background in calculus or statistics. Yeah, so if you feel that you need some prepping or you need to brush up on any of these topics, you can pick and choose, okay, and choose your own combination of pre-term courses. And yes, these pre-term courses are available for both the MSF students and the incoming MFE students as well.
Actually, let me add a little bit to the pre-term questions. For last year that we have COVID and we have to go everything completely online, we opened the pre-term courses for free for every MSF new coming students and also MFE to join. So, but if the situation improves and we have to provide a course that is kind of physically on campus, that may be some additional charge. But we will try to manage to have at least the online version available for you guys to at least brush up yourself. But remember that this pre-term course is not to teach you from the beginning. It's just to brush up your previous experience, exposure related to this. Okay, so it can introduce you to the material, but it's not gonna get you from 0 to 100.
I see a question about the QAT exam, which is, like I said, it is an additional requirement for people who want to apply to the MFE program, is that you need to submit some math test scores, right? Now, first of all, let me mention that if you for some reason you cannot take the QAT exam, we also accept the GRE subject test as well. So you can take the GRE exam, but it has to be a subject test on mathematics, okay? We accept that test scores as well. But I think the GRE test is much more expensive. So, I mean, if you are in the country, if you're in Thailand, I strongly suggest that you take the QAT exam instead, because I think that's a better use of your money. The question is, how often do we offer the QAT exam? Is it only one time per year? Well, unfortunately, yes. At this point, we only offer the QAT exam only once per year, only one date. So please make sure that you check your availability on that date. Again, you can check the date on the website, and make sure that you apply for the QAT exam along with your application as well. I think it's the same deadline for submitting the application to the program and apply for the QAT exam.
Okay, talking about QAT exam, so let's back to the CFA exam. Do we have any scholarships or anything that are available for our students to take CFA exam?
Okay, I think that is a very good point. I think one of our strong point is that we are part of the top business school in Thailand. So we are partnered with the CFA Institute, right? And as partners, we are entitled to a few scholarships for students to take the CFA exam. So yes, the students who are already in the program can apply for scholarships for the CFA exam. Of course, we need to share our quotas with the undergraduate students as well, because remember that the scholarship is given as a faculty-wide, right? So there will be some students in the undergraduate programs who are interested, some students in the MSF program, some students in the MFE program who are interested. So we need to share these scholarships school-wide. Now I realize that sometimes the scholarships that comes from our partnership with the CFA exam may not be enough compared to the demands, but don't worry, there are other sources for scholarship for CFA exam. For example, there are sources from the stock exchange, sources from the society. So don't worry, we will publicize these sources. We will try to let our students know about these sources of funding, sources of scholarship, so that we can encourage as many of our students to take the CFA exam as many as possible.
Zasila, you want to answer another questions about the QAT exam?
Question? Okay, another question about the QAT exam. So the question is, if you cannot pass the QAT exam, then you can only choose MSF program, correct or not? Well, first, let me clarify that there are no passing criteria for the QAT exam. So we do not set a minimum score. We do not say that, okay, if you score below this, then you fail the QAT exam. We do not have a pass or fail criteria for the QAT exam. That is just purely as additional information for the admission committee when we consider your application. Okay, so don't be pressured that, okay, I need to score this much or that much. There's no minimum requirement. It's just additional information for us. Of course, if you do not score very well in the QAT exam, then the admission committee might contact you and then advise you that maybe you're not ready to deal with the advanced materials in the curriculum. In that case, of course, you can consider less quantitative fields like the MBA or the MSF program. So there are options for you in this school as well if you're not ready to deal with the quantitative materials in the MFE program.
Okay, so expect it to be hard, but we don't have a minimum score.
Yes, the QAT exam, is it difficult? Well, I would say that if you remember your basic math subjects from your first year or second year undergraduate years, then I don't think it's that difficult. Again, it's just an additional information for us for assessing your applications. I mean, we don't expect a perfect score or something like that. We just want to know how strong your quantitative background is. And of course, that's only the admission stage, right? Once you enter the program, the content of both the MSF program and the MFE program will be quite challenging. So please expect to put in a lot of work once you enter our program.
Okay, so for the last questions about QAT exam again. Is it four choices or writing exam?
Yeah, it would be usually before the COVID period, we have our exam on site, right? When we have exam on site, that is like a multiple choice exam. Mm-hmm. But during the COVID period, we have to administer the exam online, right? So for online exam, we feel that we want to see your work on each question as well. So we kind of adapt our format of the exam a little bit. But that's for unusual time, for the COVID time. I cannot promise you yet what's going to happen in May of next year. If we can come on campus, then maybe we revert back to the old format. But again, I cannot guarantee the format right now. It depends on the COVID situation next year.
Okay. Any other questions? So if there's no other questions, then we're gonna end the session pretty soon. If you guys still have some questions, you can still use some other channel, Facebook message, or some email to the MSF and MFE program administrators.
Yes, I would like to add that I realize that some of you have very personalized question because each person's situation is different from the other person's, right? Maybe you need a more in-depth consultation about your study plan. So feel free to contact the program and then we can discuss your unique situation.
Okay, maybe one last question. Normally, how many pass the QAT exam? I guess as Jasila said, we don't have a pass and fail. It's just information for the admission team. Okay, so maybe this question should be changed to be how many people admitted to the MFE program?
How many people? I would say like 20%. Yeah.
About 20%.
If you count the number of students who take the QAT exam and the number of incoming students, I would say about 20 or 30%.
Okay,ครับ. All right, so thank you everybody for joining us today, and I think we have to end the session right now. Let's stay tuned for the dates and keep in mind the dates, the important deadlines that we have for the applications and exams. Okay, thank you very much.